Welcome back to another issue. I'm Beastie Boy,
I'm Table.
I'm Red.
And it is I, Shino Brando.
and for today we discuss the good and the bad fodder of the galaxy far, far away. For this discussion, we'll be focusing on the Luke Skywalker Saga films. So, Shino, what is your opinions on the films?
All right, nerf herders. I guess we'll start this one by addressing the wampa in the room, right? Why are there so few ethnics in the galaxy?
Oh, no.
I don't
Right?
know.
Really white.
Right? We have like
In the
seven
galaxy
black.
far, far away,
Yeah, we have seven
No.
black people, right?
there was 4 black people, and that's it.
Right? We have like 7 altogether. We have like a dash of Asian and like a sprinkle of Latin here and there. What happened? And the galaxy is so huge. There's so few ethnics. There's more Ewoks in variation than there are people. Did you know
I'm
that?
pretty sure Ewoks are in more movies.
I'm pretty sure there's more Ewoks in all the movies altogether than there are black people. But listen,
Oh yeah, for definitely that one.
it's just kind of ridiculous. Like in each saga, there's only one black person, and that's kind of crazy.
There's a lot of stormtroopers in black armor, which is almost the same thing.
There are more variations of stormtroopers than there are people in the universe.
This is facts.
There
These
are
are
more
facts.
variations. These are more variations of droids than there are people in the universe.
Talk to them.
It's not
R2D2
great.
says. Didn't he just said? He said there's less black people in the universe than there should be,
Sorry. Oh, this is
and he finds it ridiculous too. So, like, I really want to see like future stuff include like way more than just the allegorical person to carry a whole audience for it. It's kind of unfair. We shouldn't all feel like we should be Finn. We shouldn't all feel like we should be Mace. There should be a variation of us to choose from.
more inclusion in a sense.
Way more inclusion, right?
Yeah.
There's a shit ton of alien races, and that's cool. That's variation, all kinds. But like people, man, if you're gonna include an audience, you gotta include people, right? Like you're gonna have pretty much Poe Dameron be that figure for an entire ethnicity, right? Which is kind of it's cool, but it's unfair to just have only one. As we're
Yeah,
like,
what are you going to do? Praise Lin-Manuel Miranda for
Yeah,
being a Latinx person inside of Star Wars?
right? Like there should be way more. You know, like in main saga stuff, there's barely any Asian guys, right? You had like just Donnie Yen in Rogue One and like Rose, and that's
And
pretty much it.
Rose got like written out of the last movie because of actor conflicts. And
Yeah.
by actor conflicts, we do just mean people being terrible to her.
Yeah, very much. The internet's a savage land, and you know the fandom that is Star Wars has shifted from being a kind community to being something real weird. So it's unfair that she had to go through that garbage. And because of that, like we lost a character, and it sucks, right?
Not only did we lose a character, we lost a story arc.
We did lose a whole story arc. We did,
Right.
And that's
I would have liked to see the 2 multiracial people like have a relationship together. Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be nice.
Even if it was weird writing to start with.
Even if
Very-
it was
yeah,
who cares, you know,
Yep.
people meet weirdly in real world,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, it
Like,
was just weird that like Finn's whole motivation for that film centered around his relationship with Rey. And I'm not saying that had to be a romantic relationship either. I'm just saying that he was motivated by how much he cared about her and he wanted her to be safe and he wanted
Yes.
to change things. And that got tossed out the window for a really weird circumstance kiss. And it was just like,
Yeah,
wait, are you telling me Rose has feelings, capital letters, for him at this point? After they went to a weird space casino for no reason and wasted like 30 minutes.
That's exactly what they're saying.
So we were gonna jump to the Last Jedi here, just say that whole movie's a fever dream that shouldn't have happened.
For like 3 good things, and it's just certain visuals.
Mhm.
I think
This
there's
is-
more good
Mhm.
things in the Phantom Menace than there are in that movie.
I agree. There are a lot more good things in the Phantom Menace than there is in the Last Jedi. Agreed.
Because as much as
Yeah.
everybody doesn't like Jar Jar, we all like to pick on Jar Jar. There's nobody to pick on. What are you going to do? Pick on the kid with the broom at the end of Last Jedi?
You see, but the thing is, like Jar Jar got the short end of the stick because, like, okay, they want to say he's an annoying character. And he kind of
Misa, super annoying.
yeah, he could come off like that, but
That's
he's
what
made
he
for
was
the
written to
kids.
be.
Yeah, he's made for the children, but like he gets the short end of the stick because he was put in Phantom Menace, which was, as we all know, space politics. Episode 1, space politics.
Yeah,
right?
like let's compare GDPs with the rest of us. Let's start a kids movie like that.
Right.
No matter how you slice it, Star Wars is a kids franchise.
That's right.
If you'd taken the concept of a space politics movie, I can actually dig that if it didn't also try to be a kids movie. Like it tried to play both sides of that field and ended up
Mhm.
just being janky as hell.
Mhm,
Where if they'd
mhm.
just gone, okay, we're going to do the space politics things. Sorry, don't bring your kids to this one. That's fine. Or we're going to hand wave a lot of space politics because we know what you're here for, and it's mostly explosions and spaceship.
The thing is, space politics could have worked if they had just, if you're doing it for kids, we could just dumb that shit down. Dumb it down and keep it nice and short so that we know.
Yeah, say they crossed a border in space and called it a.
That's it.
Understands? They can understand borders.
Oh, there's illegal trading? Oh my God, Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, right? Like, they could have just kept it nice and simple. The space politics would have worked, and that movie wouldn't have, open quotation, close quotation, sucked as much. Episode 1 suffers from a lot of things, man. The politics, the pod racing. My mother fell asleep during that, okay?
I can't blame her. It's largely irrelevant to the plot.
It's super boring.
It's just a thing that has to happen, and then we can move on.
And it wastes about 20 minutes of that goddamn film. The only good thing I like about Episode 1, really, is the Darth Maul fight. Even though the end of that fight makes no sense because it contradicts itself in Episode 3. We all know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
The goddamn high ground.
Oh, yes.
I have the high ground.
Well, I think the high ground is probably more, like, we could pretend it's a moral, metaphorical position, which is to say that even when dangling in a giant chute, Obi-Wan really still does have the high ground.
Don't do it, Anakin. I have the high ground. Smash cut to Episode 1 where this guy's dangling down a fucking chute, being stalked by Darth Maul. This guy hops up and gets the high ground and wins. Makes no sense.
He's got good jumps.
I guess so. White man can jump.
Exactly.
Apparently.
With the Force, anything is possible.
Man.
I love, by the way, that Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace is there. Does he even say a line? I don't think he does in that movie.
He has one line and one line only. And he's speaking to Palpatine for that matter, too. I can't remember the line exactly. Right. I'd have to watch it again, but he does have
but I remember that spooky conversation, you're right.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's all he ever says, and then he goes and gets killed.
And then everyone's like, well, he got chopped in half. He must be dead. No! The number of times he comes back in other media is literally comical.
Only to get his ass handed to him.
This motherfucker won't stay gone.
Yeah, only to get his ass handed to him by fucking Kenobi yet again.
Every time.
Even the last encounter was even shorter than anything else.
Like, for Obi-Wan's perspective, this has just got to be ridiculous. Like, oh, it's you again?
Who has the worst comebacks, Darth Maul or Frieza?
I'm gonna be.
Well, they both came back and they were different colors.
Both they came back. They had mechanical parts added to them
and bigger horns.
Ridiculous, man. There's a lot to be said about Episode 1. The best part of the whole thing is the end credits because they're rolling and it's done.
Yeah. Exactly, 1000%. The other character I don't like in Episode 1 is Watto.
Oh yeah.
He's just quite the caricature, isn't he?
Because he's supposed to be like. The more I look at him, the more I see images, and it might be me, but the more I see like a caricature of a race, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Bad.
Well, what are we talking about here? What's Watto?
Well, he's got a long nose. He's got a black hat. And he's really shady.
And entirely financially motivated.
Well, what starts with a J and rhymes with gluish? Look, guys. Okay, look, guys. There's a lot about Episode 1 that we like to flush out of our memories.
Jar Jar, what?
There's a lot of it.
Anakin's mom's name.
Oh, Shmi?
Why would you forget her name?
Shmi?
Is it
I didn't know her name.
Beastie.
Yeah,
her name is actually Shmi.
I forgot.
SHMI.
Yeah, I forgot.
Shmi.
Hi, it's Shmi. I'm over here, and then
she sounds like a foreign-made disease. You got the Shmi. Like that's not
entirely for a weird Virgin Mary allegory, and then gets murdered for plot reasons.
I hate sand people.
By sand people who are inherently super racist.
You hate to see it.
I hate sand. It gets everywhere. It's coarse.
Wait, so does that mean Anakin? Oh my God, Anakin! In Episode 2, he was a racist. I hate sand people. Kill them all.
Yes.
Yeah.
The women
He's
and
not
the children.
pretending not to be racist. He's attempting to commit mass murder, genocide, if he had the means to do it.
And he did
If he
it.
could get away with killing all the sand people, he would have.
Oh my God, he went.
He
to
was
the whole
racist to the younglings. They were younglings.
Well,
That's
see,
not
but
racist. That's just mean.
that was for a job interview. That's different.
Yeah.
Okay, that was his
to get hired.
Yeah, that was him to get hired, man. He did
That was more ageist, if anything.
Yeah,
I've seen weirder people do weirder things to get jobs, but like that's a whole nother level. Like
he was committed.
I think sure was something. All right.
Killing all of the. I'm trying to remember their actual names so I can stop saying sand people because it makes me feel dirty just using that term. But the Jawas?
Nope, not Jawas.
No.
They're kind of cute, but not cute to kill.
Tusken Raiders.
Thank you. Yes, the Tusken.
Oh,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes, yes.
Good old Tuskens.
I don't know if you want to. I don't know. I don't know if they're good old.
I gotta pull that scene back for like Anakin says with such vindication. I hate them. And he clenches his teeth. I killed them all.
Is that when you see his dark side just peering through?
Yo, bro, his dark side. You mean his teenage angst?
Oh,
He's
right?
just really going through the emotional highs and lows of high school.
Listen, I'm sure you
of being a teenager with no
oh my
one to talk
god!
to.
I'm sure.
Yo, do you know how hard it is to be a Jedi with a boner and not be able to do anything with it?
Oh my god,
He's mad at everything, man.
dude doesn't need a
can't say I'm
lightsaber. The
familiar
man
with
needs
that
a
series.
Schwartz. Like,
Don't know how bad I just died at the teenage boner thing.
But I think we can agree that everything that happens on Tatooine is either racist or a poor metaphor for something that ends up being super offensive.
Yo,
you're correct.
Everything on Tatooine is super offensive. Jabba the Hutt is super offensive in every
Yeah.
way. In every
Ray
way.
Skywalker, super offensive.
Stop this
You're
noise.
right, but like
Wait. Okay, no. Now I'm questioning this.
no,
Go
not in a racist way, just in a poor writing way.
Oh, I got you.
In a poor
Yeah,
Mary
it's just bad. It's
in a
just
poor Mary
bad.
Sue way.
Anytime we get a depiction that uses sci-fi as an allegory for like civil rights or anything, it ends up being just awful. Looking at you, Detroit Become Human.
I mean, I know where that game was trying to go.
We can all see where it was trying to go. We can all see exactly where it fucked up.
Yeah, and like, I know.
We can also see where Rayla was trying to go, but of course,
That shouldn't have happened.
We're gonna get to that, okay? We're gonna get to that whole mess. Man, there's a lot to say about the Rise of Skywalker, but like, let's not get there yet.
right? We still got a handful of movies and a couple decades to run through.
Yeah, we gotta run through a whole bunch of stuff, and I think have we gone through
I
our
think we
aggressive
milked episode 1 for sure.
and 2, right? Have we gone
Yeah.
through 2 enough?
Yeah.
Because there's not really much of 2 other than like it's just a kid, an awful kid who's got like intense boners, hanging with a girl like for a full weekend, and like really pent up, goes and sees his mom, hates sand people, and then they have like this giant fight on a planet with a bunch of Jedi and a bunch of like, I don't know.
Oh, we can't forget that this boy is the genius and builds C-3PO.
Yeah, for some reason he built C-3PO, and I hate that connection, but that's going back to episode
That'll
1
be
again.
important later. Here we go.
Yeah, just
We'll keep that one in our back pocket. That'll
Yeah.
be important for later.
like episode 2,
Gross.
there's nothing really exciting about that whole movie. Not even that final battle, even with Mace beheading Django, right? None of that stuff was cool. That whole movie's kind of a sleeper. There's no real shock to it. Like, you kind of know Anakin and Padme are gonna hook up at the end of the whole fucking thing, right? Like, they get married.
Yeah.
You see it coming.
We know they have to.
Yeah, exactly. So like, there's nothing really big about episode 2. Like, it's kind of a sleeper. The greatest thing about that movie is just Ewan McGregor looks like Jesus.
Yes.
Picture Jesus, and I like
I
it.
have seen people in the South get shown pictures of him in that outfit and
Yeah.
go, so this is Jesus, right? And yeah, people in the South
Can
go,
I-
yep, totally, 100%.
It's so ridiculous.
I've seen like candle depictions of like, you know how like there's Jesus on like those candles, like where you can like collect them in this like those long jars.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's like the same ones of Ewan McGregor, and people straight up will like pray to him, and I'm like, that's not the same one, but okay.
That's not Jesus.
That's not Jesus, but
That's
okay.
not him, man.
No.
Yeah,
Can we
that sure
talk
is
about
not
how
a brown
cool
man. from the
Padme's
Middle East.
outfits are?
Padme's outfits were always pretty cool, and her
They're dope
her,
as fuck.
Yeah, her full body costume that she had in episode 2, and then like for it to get torn and all that, it still came off as cool as a 2-piece afterwards. She looked really good
Like
in that movie.
the costume
Natalie
designers did them.
Yeah, Natalie Portman, if you're hearing this, you were wicked in episode 2. We liked you, man. We wanted more of that. But they made you pregnant in episode 3, and we were kind of mad at it.
Well, then they just gave her weird outfits to hide the pregnancy and then to not be hiding the pregnancy. It was like, no, she had such bomb-ass looks before that.
Yeah,
And then
man.
you get the Jedi wearing potato sacks.
Yeah.
Episode 3. So,
The one that matters.
the one that does matter. And again, a movie that's kind of like, I don't know, from my point of view, it's a 50-50. It's not bad. It's not great. But it's
No,
not
I
bad.
would not pick it as my first Star Wars to sit through.
Nope. You know, I mean, for Star Wars, you'd have to go in, well, kind of numerical order if you really wanted to follow through, right? But like,
Yeah, sure. Just like you could watch Krypton before you could watch Man of Steel.
yeah, I guess in a sense, yeah.
It's
But, like,
Superman's grandpa either way, but who cares?
who cares, right? Like episode 3, like for me, I want episode 3 just to get to the point. Like, get to the Vaderness. I want to see how it goes down. just make it happen, right? And the buildup kind of like it teeters. It's like it kind of like escalates, and then it kind of like gets stagnant in the middle, and then the whole thing kind of gets weird. Where Anakin's just like he's talking to Palpatine, and Palpatine's like, "Hey man, listen, I'm a Sith God, okay? You want to be one too?" And Anakin's like, "Oh man, I gotta go tell Mace now."
Have you ever heard of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Right, and that whole thing. And so then Anakin runs and he goes gets Mace, right? Mace comes in and almost handles the business, right? And of course they go kill the one black guy in the universe at the time. Of course, right? You know,
Gosh damn.
Rare species here. But like they go and kill the guy off, right? And then like that whole scenario is the coming of Vader in that whole scenario is like I can help you save Padme.
Can we talk about like the fact that this man said straight up to Anakin's face, "So yes, I've been lying about everything to everyone for several decades now, but I promise that going and killing a bunch of children is the only way to save your wife."
Follow me.
And then Anakin believed him.
Like follow me, buddy. I can help you bring back zombies for sure.
Anakin will clearly believe anything anyone tells him ever.
Just don't tell anybody, okay? And he goes and tells someone right away, and he comes back. He goes and tells someone right away, and he comes back and he changes his mind anyways and becomes a Sith Lord to begin. So like it's just the whole transition was just dumb. It should have just been like he's in there, he gets told, and then he just turn, dude. Just turn, and then go face Mace Windu and wipe him. Facing Mace and wiping Mace out would have been his ascension proper. Not have this go tell this guy. This guy comes in, he fights him, and then you change your mind. You fucking hack his arm off.
And then we do a costume change, and now I'm wearing all dark.
Yeah, it was just dumb. It was dumb.
There's something to be said about Anakin not being the one to do it that might instill some sort of like helplessness, or there is no other way. That like you tried to do things right. You tried to go to the Jedi Council and get them to do what you have been led to believe needs to be done, and they failed. Right. So clearly
there was also a way to bang your girlfriend without getting her pregnant and killing her in the first place.
We also have to consider that this is a guy who was conceived by the Force. So who knows? Maybe he did everything right, and the Force was just like, well, no.
Well, okay, so now here we go. He was conceived by Palpatine, who maneuvered the Force by killing Plagueis.
Nope.
Whoa.
Yes.
I know, but I don't want this to be the case.
I saw it twice, and I still don't believe it.
But like you see, that's my gripe with everything, because when he told the story to Anakin about Darth Plagueis, from that point on, in my head, I already knew, because like the Jedi and the Sith have the same powers, but they have different properties. Jedis live ever after as Force ghosts, as where the Sith do Force resurrections. So that to me was already in the books. That made sense to me. Mm-hmm. Jedis do mind trick, as where Sith do Force lightning. They have different properties coming from the same fucking source. Right. So they mirror themselves.
Well, Force is the Force.
Right. So for me, when you're a good guy, you get a Force ghost. When you're evil, you're doing Force resurrection, which is because you're still trying to attain that power. You're forcing your resurrection, right? That's where Jedi's like go. Exactly. So for me, that whole scenario made sense. I like that. It's just it made sense to me. But then the whole Rey thing.
Yeah, that makes.
But also,
incest.
don't people have a big problem with like Anakin showing up as a Force ghost just later in the series?
No, not really, because like he redeems himself, right? By killing Palpatine, by throwing him down the fucking chute, right? He goes back to
one good deed and then a death is not redemption.
Not like really. But
penance, but not really.
But in the Star Wars world, he gets his retribution, right?
I guess. I don't believe it, but sure.
He gets it. He gets it, man.
The man slaughtered planets, committed genocide.
Sand people! I hate them!
But it's cool now because he killed one old bastard.
Well, he killed one old bastard of all the evil bastards,
and,
right?
And he didn't even kill him!
And we look at it on a big scale, he didn't even do it.
If Palpatine had died, then maybe. But, like, apparently he fucking didn't.
He just thought he did. So
and that's okay.
Thinking is better, you know?
But you know what? But in that case, Anakin then dies and rests in peace, thinking he did the one thing he was supposed to do. Done. Thus, he gets his Force ghost. We're done here, right?
If anything, I'd say the closest or the most redeeming thing he did was, like, profess how much he loves his son. Like, that's the nicest, most pure thing he did there. More violence isn't.
Meanwhile, ignoring
better
the entire way through.
Yeah, he straight up tortured her.
Yeah. He ignored her after. He didn't even care. He's like, yeah, I know Luke's my son. Yeah, he has a twin. We're gonna turn him though. We're gonna turn him.
Well, he's got a lightsaber, you know.
Yeah. What about your daughter?
I mean, Leia would have been a terrifying Sith.
Yeah.
Isn't she Force sensitive too? Maybe.
Solid maybe.
Yes.
You're not gonna find out till 3 movies.
And that's because like that whole angle, Leia was never supposed to be his sister to begin with, right? The shocker that was Luke.
They ran out of women in the universe because there was he'd only spoken to one.
Right.
Yeah.
I am your father, and then like oh, that was a big shocker. So they tried to double down on that shocker for Return of the Jedi. And they're like, oh, but Leia's your sister. But they didn't have the same effect as Vader being like, Luke, I'm your daddy. You know this to be true, man.
All it did was make the fact that they kissed at one time really weird.
Same room, and this big man couldn't have gone, so you're both. And you two have to pick which one lives at Dad's house for now.
This guy had no intention.
I would make Mom pick, but I killed her too, so.
Oh, no. I mean, he's not wrong. Alternate universe scenario? It's sound.
Listen, Epic Rebels of History does a beautiful job of making all the absentee fathers jokes that I'm just not going to make. So if you want to see them done much classier than me, go watch that.
Hey, listen, Padme's death was stupid as shit.
She's hooked up to a billion medical machines, but she dies.
She dies of a broken heart.
I guess.
You're telling me Padme, who fucking saved her entire planet at 14, wouldn't like see her husband go off the deep end and batshit crazy and would just be like, well, I'm too sad about this to do anything. No, she would hunt his ass down and drag him to divorce court.
This is the same Padme that was in episode 2 that was an assassination target that survived all her attempts, who went on this grand adventure, saving a Jedi's life for that matter. This is the same one that dies of a broken heart.
This is the same one that made one of her assistants dress up as her, was smart enough to understand that idea so that way she didn't get kidnapped in the first place.
But she dies of a broken heart.
She's
too sad.
Because she's too sad.
She's a woman. It's emotions.
There's not enough medicine in the galaxy because she's got too many feelings.
Yeah.
Because her husband killed younglings.
Which, frowny face sticker.
Fun fact, in that scene where Kenobi's confronting Padme about that whole thing, right? When Ewan McGregor has to say younglings, he turns his back to her. He covers his mouth because he's about to fucking laugh.
Yep, that's actually true. I remember hearing about that too.
And then he turns around and he covers the laugh up again, the smile. But like he was gonna die because he had to say fucking younglings.
Hey there, Crusaders. Red here. We got a little graphic with how we talk about the younglings in this episode. For some of our more squeamish viewers, this is a content warning for what you're about to hear. If you'd like to skip through that discussion, please go to the time code that's on screen now. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the episode. Such a weird.
He murdered the younglings.
He admitted the younglings, and then you just see him cover his face. And it's like,
well then. That scene. Oh, Master Anakin, what should we do? It's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Oh my god.
That's one of the most savage scenes in the fucking galaxy.
Yo, man.
Looking back at that scene, because I remember
Anakin, what are we gonna do?
And they choose the one kid who's got like the biggest, baggiest uniform to make him look the most juvenile kid there, right?
Yeah.
He looks like fucking Oliver Twist. Please, sir, I want some more. Right? He looks
looking
like
up into the eyes of a trusted adult, like, what now? And trusted adult is like, well, now, children, you die.
Honestly, I remember seeing that scene and seeing like Anakin looking at the kid after he asked. He's like, "Come here, you little shit!" And he's and it's like, "Oh no,
Master Anakin, what do we do? You guys ever use a lightsaber before? No, you're about to."
Do you think any of them ran? Do you think he had to chase younglings down the hall?
Can I break your heart and tell you this is probably the night that Anakin probably got a penchant for force choke?
I don't what?
That's rough. Or you could have pulled that particular maneuver that you see in the new Fallen Order game, in which you lift them up and then just zoom them over to impale them.
What if he treated the children like the same way he treated the soldiers in the end part of Rogue One when he infiltrates?
Oh, that was beautiful.
Oh my god,
that was a beautiful horror scene.
No, because I just remember vividly what that scene was, and I know what you're talking about, and that's stupid.
Man walks in and just cuts through them like butter.
Please, someone think of the children.
No. Let alone cuts through them. This man, if you were going by that scene by reference of Rogue One, you're telling me this man was just like, and just went zoom, cut up one kid, lifted one other kid and out the window, fucking falling like thousands of feet.
One to the ceiling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, keep going.
Man's just going, zoom, zoom. What are you doing? Like everyone's dying left and right, and then you're telling me that this man got that penchant to do a fucking chokehold
that night.
And that's a bad time for a fetish to come in.
Yo, listen, man. Listen.
Good God.
My man just said Vader's whole fucking fetish was force choking all the dudes, and you're not wrong.
His dick knocked off. He has fetishes for nothing.
You're not wrong.
Evidence.
Because in A New Hope, this guy force chokes everybody.
He does it in person, he does it from a distance, and he does it all over freaking
That's the only part of his brain he's got left, just the pleasure center.
Oh my God.
Speaking of force chokes in A New Hope, I know we're jumping ahead a bit, but you want to know who's the dumbest motherfucker in the galaxy? That one general who gets up in the middle of a meeting and calls the Jedi a dead religion to Vader's face. When 20 years ago,
Yeah,
Vader was legitimate magic space wizard cops.
Yeah,
who went around destroying
magic
things
Vader
with their mind, and he knows Vader is at the very least related to that same scary religion. What did he expect to happen?
Guy's like, oh Vader, your magic's doo-doo, man. Shut up.
Yeah.
He's a space wizard, bro.
He starts immediately dying.
What if I told you he secretly wanted to be choked out?
Funniest shit is when one of his right-hand men failed him, he immediately chokes that dude out across screen, okay?
Yep.
When that guy dies, the dudes in that same area where the guy falls and dies, one of the guys behind him literally looks like the camera like oh fuck. I'm just go back to work right now.
No job security.
Like literally, like it's the funniest shit. Like that scene is so damn funny to me because like they watch this guy choke and die, and they go right back to where like.
They don't. They're next.
Anyway, we didn't like Jim anyway, so we're just going back to work now.
I bet you that guy that literally turned around, he's literally just like, fuck, I can't play Space Invaders now. Fuck you.
George, you dumb motherfucker.
Listen, so before we jump to A New Hope,
called?
So before we jump to A New Hope, I think we're missing one.
Whoa, what?
We are.
Oh, are you really want to jump into that one? The Rogue One?
I mean, let's go.
Okay. Rogue One. So
the bastard child of the franchise.
This movie, oh man, this movie. So my gripe with this movie is this one guy is the blueprint for the entire Death Star. He designs the Death Star to have one flaw only. A open hole. Dumb. You mean to tell me this guy has this guy has a whole fucking team that's building this thing, and not one of them picks up on this faulty error?
I can correct you on this because you know what? It's not a plot hole. It's actually really funny.
Go ahead.
But like, go ahead.
For me, because it's like from what I remember from good old books, right? The way they treated these soldiers who went on the Death Star and stole the Death Star plans, they treated it like the Dirty Dozen in space, right? These were a ragtag bunch who went on a death-defying mission to grab these plans, come back, and each died one by one until they got into Leia's hands. It didn't happen in this movie. Instead, we got this cheesy fucking love story that came out of nowhere that we didn't need. That
was
whole
doomed from the start.
Yeah, the whole a revenge plot of my dad worked for these guys, he got killed by them. For me, that it's too convoluted. I'd rather this thing being a super big station where these guys got ahead of themselves and they made this whole thing. They didn't realize they had a flaw in the whole fucking thing until one smart rebel found out and then decided to steal the plans, bring it back, done and done. Instead, we got a whole different film that needed to feel self-enclosed with everything. It had to be a revenge plot. It had to be a love plot. It had to be everything that movie didn't really need.
That's super fair.
It also had to feature the dude from Hannibal.
Yeah.
Who has never watched a Star Wars movie in his life.
Bad.
Well, Rogue One.
But okay, do you want to know why the flaw in the Death Star existed? Space bureaucracy. Fucking this. So basically, what happened was he went, okay, what mistake can I put in it? Well, if I put a giant hole in it, that's something. But how will I ever get this past anybody? So he writes an email to people in charge and is like, okay, so we've got the plans, we've got this started, but here's this one problem, that this cooling vent is dangerous. And they go, okay, get rid of it. And he's like, okay, but if I get rid of that, then we have a whole bunch of other problems, and we need to figure out how we're going to get the ventilation handled. We're going to have to make sure it doesn't explode. We're going to have to do this. And sent literally thousands of emails back and forth on this topic until it got to the point where he was like, okay, so theoretically we could do all of this to make this work, but we still have a cooling problem. And they go, just put in the fucking vents, who we don't care anymore. Because if you send a million emails on a topic, it's not some grand stealthy thing. It's just people hate communicating with each other via office emails. They hate it so much.
I am not accepting that. He has a whole design team with him, and no one.
Space bureaucracy, yo.
Oh man,
the mundane evils of people not wanting to do their job.
Oh. Fine, sure. We'll leave it. I'll leave it at that. Bob did bad by not considering the email here. He's like, whatever, man. Just put the band in, bro. I don't care. I'm done at 5 o'clock anyways.
Exactly. Which is dumb, but superhuman. That's just a superhuman person thing to do.
That whole part of the whole thing is a problem for me.
I hate Jyn Erso as a lineage, as like, oh, it was her dad that had these plans and blah blah blah.
All that could have been written.
Character, I like the way she presents herself.
Yes.
I like the way she moves through the story, except for when her dad's on screen.
Listen, man, KS2O was the best
everybody, him too.
Have you read the novelization of Rogue One, by the way?
No, I have not.
Because his death is super upsetting. He takes his last seconds of existence to imagine a completely impossible scenario in which Cassian gets out alive.
And they went and they killed Forrest Whitaker. They killed another black person in the galaxy. You see, we're already there, and they're killing them all off.
Is there a black person that doesn't die? Like Finn, but...
Lando stays cool.
Lando's too busy slaying of space pussy to do anything.
And he also crushes space robot puss.
Of course he does. Like
Lando can get it.
Lando. No. Not Lando. Yeah, he can get it. No. Lando can get it.
Who gets it more, Lando or Captain Kirk?
Lando.
Lando, you say?
Definitely Lando.
Yeah, because he's cooler than the other side of the pillow. I know.
Captain Kirk has to try too hard.
Captain Kirk does try too hard. You're right.
Lando walks in, he exudes suave, and he just slays everything around him.
You're correct.
That dude would walk into the Katina bar, and that would just it. He would get a drink served to him. It'd slide into his hand, James Bond style. And no matter who he looked at, that's who's going to bed with tonight.
That old smoothie, you say. Lando, man.
I'm glad he came back for the newest one.
I'm glad too. Lando used to get the bum rap way back in the day of being a traitor, but it's just like, wouldn't you have, if you had to take care of a whole bunch of people who might get wiped out by the goddamn Empire, wouldn't you betray these guys and then try to fuck the Empire back by trying to save them afterwards because you're trying to keep the peace on your one little area that you're trying to keep the peace on?
He had a responsibility to the people under his jurisdiction to keep them safe. A responsibility that is greater than that he had to his old criminal friend.
That's exactly it. And Lando used to get the bum rap for that, which I'm like, no one seems to understand.
Yeah, now he just gets the bump.
Now he just does. You're right.
You know who has the worst time, though? Chewbacca. Everyone he loves dies.
I hate
you. He has it the roughest, right?
So I'm sitting... No. Hang on. I'm sitting in this movie, right? In episode 9. And when this big dog looking motherfucker gets his medal that he deserved in the first place.
Yeah, that's right.
Big baby tears. He deserved it. This was fan outcry for 41 years.
Yep.
All it cost him was all of his friends.
All it cost him was his brothers and sisters.
It sucks, man. What hurts is that they never all got on the screen at the same time for one last one, right? And that hurt, right? There was no Luke, Han, and Leia and Chewie on one screen. It didn't happen, right? Like, at least we had like the benefit of seeing Luke and Leia for just a few seconds.
Right? Where they had a conversation on, is that you?
Right.
They don't know if he's really there or not, which is cool. I like the entire scene.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
Funny. Everything you just said was wrong. Dude, like, hello?
Absolutely brutal.
And he shows up there, like, wearing dark.
Because just to reflect himself from Return of the Jedi.
And also to stick out from the planet he's standing on.
Yeah, it was a nice little reflection of like this. You know, in Return, Luke was at his darkest, right? That was the moment of does he turn or does he not turn, right?
Right.
Can I just say I am really annoyed that they decided to give up the Chanel boots look of Return of the Jedi for more potato sack robes.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I prefer this costume in Return with the
God, it was slick and really cool.
With the open button collar that he had.
And the white panel on the inside.
Yeah. And the single leather glove. Like, he looked his coolest in that one. I agree. I always liked that costume. I always did.
Jedi in black, yo.
Yeah, especially when he came with cloak, he looked the best, man.
And standing out on that planet, facing his emo fucking nephew, in the big, I think it was basically an AT-AT, wasn't it?
Yeah,
basically,
so, yeah. I think it was
functionally, if not literally.
I think it's ATST. I think ATST. I think it was, but yeah.
And then just staring him down and going, "Funny, everything you said was wrong." Like, a way to stare in the face of danger and death itself, and just go. And just raise your middle finger at it.
He's looking at his nephew like, he's like, you think being emo is cool? I was doing it before you were even born, man.
I was doing it to my dad.
Yeah, I've been doing this.
You don't get to do it to your uncle.
You think you have daddy problems? You think you have daddy problems?
Has your dad ever tried to murder you?
Your dad ever fully taken over the goddamn galaxy, son?
No, his dad was too busy having a wife and then getting a second wife.
Let's not go there. Let's not sully the name of Han any more than it can be, okay? Let's leave that alone.
His son did all that work. It's not my fault. His son did all that work. It's not my fault.
Listen, man.
But, Speaking of, well, okay. Is there anything we actually want to gripe about in the OT, or are we just going to jump to the sequel trilogy?
You know what? I can't really put too many gripes on A New Hope or Empire or Return of the Jedi. There's not really much for me to poke at them other than
There's only like one thing I don't like for sure,
what's that?
and it's the Luke kick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where it's super fakey, and then
Yeah.
every other effect that's really close to it, like later on in the movies,
I also
real enough that you could get it. But when he's literally just kicking nothing,
I can also hate the fact of there's something I could gripe at, but it's not really huge. It's more in like the way it's filmed. Like
It's
a
all
lot of
cheesy.
like a lot of the remaster stuff could have stayed away. They've never touched it up and just left it the way it was. I'd have preferred that.
oh yeah, I'm sure that's a thing we can grab at. Luke fucking whatever his dumb nerve herder face is, like coming and and then Disney Plus remastering.
Yeah, and it's like that scene of Han talking to Jabba is like super cringe, man, because it looks terrible. It looks super terrible.
I have seen the scene where they're just pulling up to the bar
Oh yeah,
in the despecialized edition. Give me that.
man.
That's a thing. Because it's all old and like the effects are definitely of the time, it looks better when you can tell it's old. So you can go, yeah, this is a product of as much as they could given the budget and whatever. Whereas
See,
when you remaster it, it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, it's good though. And you're like, it's not. Don't
It's
pretend all of these effects work. Some of them
Yeah,
just don't.
thing is, they put CG in at a time where CG wasn't at its best, and
Right.
it looks terrible.
It's like putting beast machines in frickin' the original, like the OG Transformers.
Yeah,
All
right.
it did was sully it.
It just wouldn't look right, and like here it didn't look right, and it would have been better if you just left it at practical effects, man.
And turning Yoda from a puppet and then making him CGI
Yes.
and
Upsetting.
then making him a puppet again, all in the same 3 movies.
Yeah.
Icky.
Yeah, like that. Man. Like I
That's it. But
can't.
it's super small things, right? The only things we
Yeah.
have problems with are the person that went back and retouched it. But
Retouched it
the
all,
movies
like-
themselves.
It was fine as it was.
Yeah, just leave it as it was, man. There was no need for all the CG touching up that makes that movie almost unbearable to watch, right? I can't stand anything on Tatooine because it just looks terrible. Everything looks terrible. From the
Wait.
stormtroopers, you traveling on banthas, fuck, everything just looks
So
bad, man.
Hawk looks
Yeah,
really bad.
it just looks bad,
Yeah.
man. It looks bad. Should just
But
left it
can
alone.
we just take a moment and appreciate the soundtrack?
Oh yeah,
Those
for
movies?
sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
I own the soundtrack on vinyl. It's
John
that good.
Williams
That's
is a
because
great
it's gorgeous.
composer, man. Like he's composed some of the greatest hits. Like he's done all Superman, he's done Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Harry Potter, Pirates of the Caribbean. Like he's been everywhere.
So he's like the
Phenomenal.
Did some,
Phenomenal.
he did some stuff for the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. He's been John Williams is great. He's retired now. I think his last work was Rise of Skywalker, and I think that was it for him. He's not working on anything else after that. He's retired now.
So in a sense, he'd be like the Hans Zimmerman for like the fantasy kind of.
He's the Hans Zimmerman for all the Ridley Scott movies, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Christopher Nolan. You know, those guys like using Hans Zimmerman, right?
Yeah.
George Lucas really loved John Williams,
Mm.
and he always went back to him for everything.
So I feel right when we're about to jump to the next trilogy, I feel like if anybody wants to talk about those 2 pieces of Star Wars media that are now kind of not canon but forever lost,
Which is
one is the Star Wars Christmas special.
I know nothing of it, so I will not.
we know that gets axed from continuity, man.
We must not
And-
forget that it happened, or we will repeat such a sin.
Yes, right.
And Star Wars Disco.
Star Wars Disco.
What?
Yeah, Star Wars
Very
Disco was a
funny,
thing.
hilarious costumes.
What is it?
It's a thing. It's a thing.
I don't want to look into it, but is this like?
Beastie, look into it.
No, is this a
Look
game?
into it. Google it.
No, I don't. Want
Google it, man. Just do it.
To. I'm scared.
Just do it.
I don't want to.
Use the Force.
No.
It'll be okay.
Palpatine, no. I was questioning this.
Do it. Do it for the Senate.
No, Jesus.
Let the hate flow through you.
It will once you watch Star Wars Disco, man.
Not.
Yeah.
Just
So it's a
listen,
movie.
of course.
No, it's
I
not a
have had the
movie.
unpleasure.
It's a soundtrack, man. Just listen to it.
No. Mm-mm. No. I'm not. No.
I've had the misfortune of sitting through the Christmas special more than once.
I'm
Why?
sorry.
Well,
Really?
once I was not in a solid state of mind, let's put it that way. And the other time I was like, well, I just watched it in another state of mind. Let's see what happens when I watch it normal.
That was your mistake.
That movie introduces you to Chewie and Chewie's family, and then you realize Chewie fucks. So this is gross.
Of course, Chewie fucks.
Yeah, Chewie fucks. His grandpa fucks. His grandma's making kitchen and whip and whip and whip and whip. His grandfather watches robot porn.
These are facts.
Oh!
So I mean, what else can we say? It's the lost duo of the Star Wars franchise.
We leave
They
that
sure
one
exist.
Mm-hmm.
But holy shit.
We'll leave
Now
that
to greener and brighter pastures.
Mm-hmm.
The Disney trilogy.
Great. If you
I
want to
like that you started with greener and brighter when the first thing we see is Jakku. Because, that screams green and bright to me.
If you really want to call it greener and brighter, the new trilogy, Lord, there's a lot. There's a lot to be said
Compared to
about
the
that
Christmas
too.
special, it's Morning Dew.
So my thing with these Disney trilogies is that there's too many people who are writing this series.
Yeah, there's too many hands in this fucking bucket.
Yeah, and a lot of storylines you can see are picked up and then dropped. And the main hurtful one is Finn. Because they start off with something for this guy and they completely drop this character to nothing but
It goes from a main character to an accessory.
Exactly, and you can see they're building up to something, and hear me out on this, okay? Because the Force is sensitive on everything, right? And people don't usually pick it up unless someone else is either fully aware or already
or straight up just tells them.
Exactly. So here we are, the opening minutes of Jakku, right? We have a bunch of stormtroopers come down. They're forced to shoot a crowd. They're commanded to do it. Finn doesn't do it, right? Then we have the confrontation with Poe. Then they take this guy away. As they're walking away and everything, right? Kylo stops. He literally looks at Finn in helmet, right? Stands there for a few fucking seconds, and he continues about his way. Which is like, here's someone who is Force pretty much aware to someone who's Force sensitive. And then they drop this whole plot line to make this guy just scream woo in the background and shoot things.
Right? So the thing I love that we have, we had a ship that spun out of 9.
Yeah.
But forever in my head, it's going to be those two dudes as a ship together.
Who, Rey, who's Poe and Finn?
Yeah.
To me,
they're intergalactic boyfriends, and they're the intergalactic Bert and Ernie.
They for me, I don't know. Everything was picked up and dropped. Finn has this thing for Rey. They dropped that.
Poe has a thing for Rey. They dropped that.
Poe
has this thing for guiding the ship. They dropped that.
Clearly, the only solution is everyone's poly, including the ship.
What kills me is that there's so many things they could have done proper. Like the Millennium Falcon should have been in the hands of someone who could fucking fly, right?
Right.
That in my head should have been Poe's. Like that should have been passed down to Poe. It only makes sense.
Right, he's a pilot.
The best fucking pilot in the goddamn galaxy that that he's toting around. That the entire Resistance seems to be agreeing with, right? So I mean, at that point, give him the Falcon. No, it goes to Rey for some reason.
Right?
Because she's the legacy character.
And she has no business being the legacy character because she doesn't have any relation to the legacy characters.
It makes no sense. So the whole thing of her, receiving a lightsaber. And here's another thing too. So Legendary, right? Legendary saying is that lightsabers can't be used by people who are not trained for it, right?
Right.
Yeah, they're conduits of the Force, and if you have no Force sensitivity or no training, it will rip you apart, basically.
Exactly.
Right.
Here it is. Finn uses it to fight Kylo Ren. And
it doesn't go perfectly, but it kind of works.
And he wounds the guy.
He manages. Totally.
Right. And then yet we completely forget that whole thing. And it bothers me how they just drop this character. Those who are Force awakened, okay, they can speak droid. They understand.
I was under the impression that some people just did speak binary and some people just didn't.
No, like the people that talk to Chewbacca, like if you speak Wookiee, that's honestly how I interpreted it. You just develop a skill.
No, they don't. You're Force sensitive. Like Han grew up an orphan with no idea, and he meets Chewie once, right? And he understands what this guy's saying. That right there is a clue that Han was Force sensitive, but he just was never trained to be a Jedi.
Well, it's not like his wife was trained. Oh, wait, she was. And we find that out 2 movies later.
Yeah.
For a weird CG flashback, yes.
So, like, a lot of his subplots and plots were just dropped
because Carrie is not wielding that lightsaber in that moment.
Yeah.
And she never picks it up, not fucking canon to me. The person who is undeniably Leia never wields that saber, not just because rest in peace, because to put those 2 characters at that time, you have to de-age one, and that's fine because he understands the contract, but you're not going to do it to the other.
Yeah.
I don't think you see her face. in that flashback.
You do.
You do at the very end.
A few seconds, and they used her daughter, and then try to map Carrie's face on her daughter's face to kind of get the structure proper.
No, Carrie didn't hold that lightsaber. Not fucking canon.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
I don't know that the whole Disney trilogy is just a big old mess of stuff.
It's a mess.
There's really good parts, and there's some parts that's just like, why'd you guys drop that?
It aggressively contradicts itself.
Very much,
like,
yeah.
Here's the thing. Okay, so the whole thing with Rey
here we
is
go.
Her story is supposed to culminate in that whole bullshit tropey, it doesn't matter who your family is, like who your blood family is, because you choose your family. Except in her story, it literally 100% does.
Yes.
And in Kylo's story, it 100% does. The only people it doesn't matter for are Finn and Poe, who are barely even characters in that movie.
They started them off really nice in Force Awakens and then just dropped them all throughout the rest of the film series.
Where is this purple?
Rey gets all of these legacy things because, that she is related to Palpatine, but her choice to reject that. But you can't have that if you didn't have that relationship in the first place. Whereas Poe and Finn are making the same choices to support the right side. And hell, Finn's is even more interesting because he was actually tied in to the First Order and chose to reject it, which,
Finn,
given brainwashing is hard as fuck.
And that's the great thing about Finn, too, because he played the part of a reluctant hero, right? And he didn't want all he wanted to do was run. He wanted to run away from
He wanted to be safe. He wasn't even, like, cowardly or reluctant
he just wanted
hero.
he just wanted to be away from it all. And he got pulled back in, right? Because he cared for somebody. There's so many threads that they cut off that made...
And the funnest part is
better storytelling.
We kept mentioning it, that saying that Finn is Force sensitive, and now knowing in an external way that for that character to come back is a way bigger conversation internally than it is to us as fans.
Yes.
That line means nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it actually would have made more sense that I am deeply in love with you.
Yeah.
In continuity, in universe, it would have made much more sense. It would have been like, yeah, but I'm not interested. Oh, okay.
Sure. Whatever.
But saying that you're Force sensitive and now you can train at least one more Jedi.
I don't know.
Nothing. It's nothing.
The buildup was there for Finn. Like, he picked up a lightsaber, fought with it, wasn't supposed to be able to do that. In Force Awakens, he didn't understand BB-8 nor Chewie. As soon as Last Jedi comes up, he understands both Droid and Chewie talk. As soon as he comes out of a coma, the Force is awakening him, but we never go back to that plot. We just drop it.
Also, when Finn is trying to leave, right? And he gets tasered by Rose, and it's like, oh, you're a fucking coward or whatever. He literally wasn't running away for cowardice. He was, I have to go find Rey. Those are totally different things. But he gets treated like, oh, he's got to learn better, and he's got to learn to care about this cause. But he was literally just caring about something else.
Yep.
It wasn't like, fuck y'all, I'm just going to go, like, hide on a backwater planet until this all blows over. It was, my friend is out there, I need to go help her.
Yeah, unlike Luke, who literally makes that decision.
Would have been a lot more enjoyable. What really worked for the original crew is that we had a dynamic between Hamill, Fisher, and Ford.
Right.
Yeah. So all three of them had a chemistry, and it worked, right? They put the three of them in scenarios, and it functioned. Yeah, here we didn't have that. We have Force Awakens. We have Finn, Rey, Han. Then in The Last Jedi, we have Finn, Rose, Poe, and then it just turns into Finn and Rose, and Poe's by himself, Rey's doing something else. Then we have The Last Jedi, where they're all together, but we don't have that connection because we never had that build up. Right. So, like, for me,
they're just supposed to care about each other now because the plot says so.
The plot says so, and it feels so disjointed because, like, when did the three of them get so chummy? I don't remember the three of them getting together to do something and be so chummy. It makes no sense to me. I was just saying, like, so for me, that whole the trilogy, the Disney trilogy written out, it just shows signs of just too many cooks in the kitchen and too many threads.
I've got a real stick in my ass because there's that purple-haired lady in The Last Jedi. Where is she in the other movie?
No mention of anything in Force Awakens, right?
So
nothing.
He's new.
Who cares? Why
do I
care?
What about Snoke, dude? We just had Snoke, and now all of a sudden Snoke's just a clone. Hey, whatever, just a body.
Yeah.
Right?
You thought Snoke mattered? Ha.
And
so those fan theories you've been listening to for the last 5 years? Yeah, most of them are right. We actually couldn't think of something that nobody else thought of.
That final trilogy didn't even have to be a trilogy. You could have made it 10 movies and end the cap as a 10 movie series and just done it all, right?
Right.
The Rise of Skywalker could have been 2
You could have done that too, or you could have done a 3 and then 4 is an epilogue and it's literally tying up the loose ends.
Exactly it, right? Just finish
And
it
it's
off.
literally the writing equivalent of a denouement.
Right.
It's literally the whole movie.
Yeah,
it's a
but
feel-good movie from start to finish.
But we rushed the shit, dude.
It needs to come out at Christmas, and needs to come out at Christmas every year except for one where Solo shits in the whole thing.
Man, it's that Disney trilogy. There's good stuff. There's bad stuff. Like
Can
I
I
like.
express my rage?
Oh yeah. Oh please.
Absolutely.
Please do.
So the Disney trilogy is not the only modern reimagining or reboot or whatever the fuck you want to call this whole like revival of properties instead of making new things that's been going on for the past 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not the only one to have committed this sin. But I am so goddamn sick of properties doing a flash forward and then telling us that the heroes we love and the people we cared about and we committed to their stories and we committed to their virtues and all of the ways that they were going to change their shitty worlds and their shitty situations to make it better, and saying, actually, no. They failed. They broke. They grew up old and cynical, and all of that hope that you loved is gone. I'm so sick of it.
And why?
They took all of those characters and, okay, look, they didn't destroy them completely because the Leia and the Han we see in The Force Awakens, those are people built out of the fragments of those people we loved in the original trilogy. And they are the same fragments. And the Luke we see is built out of the pieces of what we knew. But the idea that no one can stay good and that everyone will be broken eventually, I hate that.
Yeah. It's like looking at a Kenobi and watching Kenobi just turn into some kind of haggard old man who hates everything, right? It wouldn't make any sense. Yeah. When he was a youthful optimist the entire time, right? It doesn't add up.
It was a whole big thing for Luke that coming out of Return of the Jedi, they were going to rebuild and they weren't going to make the same mistakes. And then he makes exactly the same mistakes in sequence. Oh, we're going to have a school for Jedi. Oh, we're going to neglect one student and they're going to go crazy and kill everyone. And oh, I'm going to go live as a hermit alone because clearly that's the only way this story could possibly end.
Because Kenobi did it, so I'll do it too.
Yeah, and instead of writing him his fucking story, they stole Kenobi's.
Yeah, yes, they did. They totally did.
So not only did we get Kenobi's story the first time when it was literally his, we got it a second time with Luke's, and now we're going to get a third time with the Kenobi series.
Yeah, well, okay, so here it is. So we did it with Kenobi, and Kenobi was the good old man wizard, right? And here it is, Luke's doing it, but Luke's the cynical drunk down the block, right? That's literally who they made Luke into.
Yeah, they literally made him Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah.
They took everything that was beloved about his character and went, actually, no, he's going to throw this away, much like that lightsaber.
I swear to God, if they do it to Rey, I am never going to forgive anything Star Wars after this point, man.
Oh, also, can we just ask, where the fuck did Anakin's saber come from? Because that shit got lost on Bespin. That shit fell into a planet made of gas.
And what's funnier is that it's not even fully Anakin's saber. It's Kenobi's saber first that he handed to fucking Anakin.
It's
Anakin
the one that slaughtered
so
children.
many people.
And the one that slaughtered children is the one that Obi originally handed to him. It's supposed to be the same one in A New Hope.
Many younglings were slayed with this thing.
Yes, many younglings were slayed with this thing.
Like, bringing that saber back to me was baffling. I was like, how? Why? What?
That
who went and got it? Did it fly through space and hit the front end of a spaceship? And they were just like, I guess we're keeping this because
listen, if we're gonna talk about found and lost things, tell me where Vader's helmet came from. Didn't it drop from Cloud City?
Dude, no. Do you understand that he was cremated? So that thing should have been ash from the get-go. I don't even know how Kylo got his hands on that. Makes no sense. It should have been ash.
Especially at least 30 years later.
It should have been just ash.
Did anyone know Luke was going off into the woods to burn his father's corpse? Did anyone know that happened?
What's that smell? Nothing.
Some ghosts?
Bacon?
Oh, I left the oven on. I'll be back.
Yeah, and Ewok
everyone was getting drunk and having the best party, and he wandered off into the woods and dissociated and saw some ghosts.
Yeah, right. Like Luke, are you having a fever dream? Are you okay? You've been through a lot, my friend.
No, he's not okay. He becomes a hermit.
Yeah,
he got electrocuted that day and didn't get any medical attention.
But he got his father's love back. It's okay.
His father's love can't save his nervous system.
Apparently it did.
His father's love isn't anything. His father didn't love his own mother.
It's supposed to be.
Red. Wow. Those are some harsh facts.
He didn't.
That's some harsh facts.
He loved her for like all of 10 minutes because you
Yeah.
know that's how long that man lasted.
Ouch.
Wow.
And then unfortunate circumstances.
I guess we're almost coming to a close on this guy. On
that note, some happy about this universe.
Yeah.
We have Mandalorian on
Yes!
screens now. Arguably the
jeez.
best thing to come out of Star Wars since the first trilogy.
Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
great TV series to watch. I'm hoping the Kenobi series comes out, and I hope that's great too. And of course, the OG trilogy is always the greatest, man. The other two,
We're gonna get live action Ahsoka. Do you know how happy that makes me?
I'm happy about that too. Super happy about that.
You know, I'm happy. I'm happy to see a white lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. It's
You
gonna
know
be good
how
stuff to
cool
watch, man.
that's gonna fucking look in
Yeah.
live action.
It's gonna be good. Like it's almost too bad that Star Wars took too long to become a TV property. It almost feels like it should just gone that route instead of just making this last trilogy.
It definitely tried with like the couple animated series. There's a
Yeah.
2D animated series show that isn't on Disney Plus, and Disney's trying to forget.
Wait,
Oh,
is it the precursor to the Clone Wars?
Yes,
Yeah.
Indy
That one
Tartakovsky.
was super good.
Yeah, the same
Yeah.
guy who created Dexter's Lab and all that, man.
It's the
And,
same person who did some of the animation from
Yeah, Samurai
Avatar.
Jack.
Oh, that version.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Frick.
Same guy who did Samurai Jack and all that. Like
Yes, yeah, because the same animation work.
Yeah.
And Disney's trying to forget about it
But why?
because it didn't
I've seen
succeed.
because
And Clone Wars did succeed.
then because the
I'm gonna send you
original
guys
one
an
is
incredible
pretty
video.
it's pretty short, right? Like
Mm.
each segment's like at most maybe 10 minutes long.
Yeah, I think it's like an 11-minute show or something like that.
Yeah, so the episodes are really short, so it comes up to like the entire runtime is like an hour,
Oh, wow.
right?
Yeah.
So it's
Whereas
not,
the
it's not-
Clone Wars just
Yeah.
eats itself for dinner left, right, and center.
yeah, it's a whole series.
And
Yeah, yeah.
Rebels is another top tier show,
Yeah.
I haven't got to that
Look
yet,
at
but
that Mandalorian lore.
right?
I haven't got to that yet, but I'm gonna try to check that out. I binged all of Mandalorian after the entire release. I watched it weekly when it was coming out, but I binged that again because that show's fucking awesome.
Now that I've watched it, I can't stop. And
Oh,
mostly
man.
because Baby Yoda.
Mando's coming, it's coming back soon. I think like November.
Oh
So-
yeah.
They think so, yeah.
So we're not too.
And I got my significant other to watch the show, and she's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm interested."
well,
Yeah,
fuck,
okay.
Mando's Father of the Year, man.
He's so
Yeah.
great as a
He's
character.
better than every father in Star Wars. Fight me.
No, you're
The
right.
best
You're
dad.
super right. He's the best dad.
Also, in my head canon, Mace Windu is the father
Of
of the other black guy in Star Wars, Finn.
I mean, it's entirely possible.
There's only like two of them.
that poll was just like so long, and I was like, "Where are we?"
No,
going?
but you know what? He's not wrong though, because of all the black people in the universe, they're probably still related, man. So I mean,
But no,
Yeah.
but here's the thing:
Well,
if
he's
we're gonna
either,
go like, no,
he's either
like,
Lando's kid
mhm.
or he's Windu's kid. Take your pick.
But here's the thing: what about the black girl
Well,
in the last movie?
it can't be Windu because that's too far back. Like Finn would be like fucking like 40 something right about now. So it'd have to be Lando, like one of Lando's like illegitimate kids, like he left around somewhere else.
I'd be okay with that.
But it's at that point too. It's like, no, I don't want that because there should be more black people in the galaxy. I'm leaving it at that.
And also, listen, we have exactly what Beastie said. We have the lady that they found on the planet that Lando was saying, oh, where do you come from? I don't know. Well, let's find out.
Yes,
Either
'cause-
that was a lead-in into another series, or that was trying to slip into her pants. And
I
honestly,
think that was definitely a lead-in.
I'll take either.
Beastie, outro, please.
Yeah.
You can find our social media on our Twitter, which is @CrusadeNerd. Our Instagram is Nerd Crusade, where we're posting information or other posts about different articles as well. And we upload our episodes every Wednesday to YouTube, and you can download any previous episodes or listen on your mobile device to the Anchor FM or Spotify app searching Nerd Crusade.
Right on, and I guess that's to be continued.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this issue, go ahead and button mash the thumbs up. If you want to swing by when we have a new video, web up the subscribe button on YouTube or anywhere you can to listen to our podcast. And to be updated to know when a new issue is out, hit the bell to be notified by